Hello, I think the other people should be along shortly. I'm just a volunteer member, but generally Dre and Christine run the meetings. So
I think they're
should be on soon. The notes are pretty accurate if you've gone to the Git repo. So that has all the information. And that's really all I got for you.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, how are you, Christine?
I'm good. We'll drop the agenda link. It moved a few times. I was trying to find it.
Agendas, they can move like that sometimes.
Yeah. Drop the link to the agenda. You can just go ahead and add yourself as present.
Hey everybody, sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I was on a previous call and then I had to run for a quick break.
All right. Read off the agenda for you.
Let's see here. Okay. Did you start through the a couple of agenda items we got here?
I just asked folks to go ahead and add their names, and yeah, that was about it. And I just dropped a couple of agenda items in there. So folks can add anything.
Okay. Okay. All right. So a couple of items then, as we get started with today, because I want to see a few things there. Any new people? I see Catherine Druckman appears to be a new name that I haven't seen.
Hello. I was at the last meeting, but yes, I am relatively new.
Oh, sure. Did you were you given the opportunity to introduce yourself at the last meeting?
I was, but I can do it again. I am an open source evangelist at Intel. I am the co-chair of the marketing committee, and I am interested in this topic in general, but I'm especially interested as I see there being alignment in interest, especially between marketing and this group, in particular onboarding new contributors, member outreach, all of those things. There's a bit of overlap. I don't know if a lot, but a significant enough amount that yeah, I feel like maybe we can help each other out here.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you again for that, Catherine, and I apologize for my memory not being as good as it needs to be. Let's see. So, we have a couple of opens on our agenda here. So we have providing a SIG journey for each OpenSSF group that's happening. That's a recap from the best practices working group discussion. We're going to be discussing around marketing. And so that was a request from Sal, and then starting outreach to organizations on our spreadsheet. Before that, I'm hesitant on saying this publicly right now, but we have a very, very, very unique opportunity. I'll say that. Christine and I have been working on a proposal document. I started it. It was opined on by Omkar, our new GM, who made a suggestion. Krob and I said, well, you know what? That sounds wonderful. And busted that out. And then now we have a new proposal document that Christine and I will begin circulating here shortly. I won't go into specifics. What I will say is we have a very unique opportunity and all hands on deck for this one. So I'll leave that there. And in terms of the SIG journey that we're getting ready to discuss right now, and then of course going down into marketing and outreach, all of this stuff is relevant to the bigger picture. I think we're going to have an offshoot meeting. To discuss that. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for a meeting invite to discuss that, because this week is going to be a heavy week for it, going into next week's TAC meeting, where hopefully we'll be able to shine a brighter light on what we're talking about there. But going into the SIG journey, who wants to open up with that?
Yeah, I can kind of like give a recap for those who were not in the last. So the previous meeting to this one was the best practices working group, and one of the topics that came out was related to an issue that was brought in from somebody who attended the OpenSSF day and filed an issue to the TAC about, in her instance, she was talking about a journey for maintainers, so that maintainers who land on the OpenSSF may not feel like it is for them. So they wanted, I could drop the link in, but they provided like an issue, not just with the problem statement, but also with some possible solutions. So during the last during the last meeting for the best practices working group, there was some discussion around what to do next. And since it gelled with some of the discussions that we had last time, where we were talking about people jumping into office hours and kind of wanting to know what is the OpenSSF, where do I get started? Those two kind of came together nicely. And so what's going to be happening on that end is that there's going to be like a DevRel committee, and I believe Catherine might be like a big part of that to actually address that issue of how to best bring people into the onboarding experience and basically make OpenSSF fit the different personas. So that initiative is kicking up in various forms. So that was a good discussion, but I just wanted to update folks on this call as well. So stuff happening there. Again, stay tuned, and if you want to be involved in some of that, with Krob and Catherine here, spearheading that effort around DevRel committee to help with the kind of like the beginner journey for different personas.
Okay, and when it comes to DevRel stuff, I know that there was a mention about some outreach. There was a mention about the website creation, and I believe you just said that. Does this segue into the next thing that Sal requested around marketing and all that? Can those things kind of be joined together? Or I'm thinking about working smarter towards a lot of these objectives, rather than one thing being one thing, another thing being another thing. Maybe they could be kind of brought together for a larger effort.
I do believe so. From reading the previous notes, a SIG journey. That's what the previous notes talked from Sal about creating a SIG journey for each OpenSSF group. And yes, I think it does actually dovetail pretty good.
As I recall, there was a discussion last time with Sal in particular about turning this into a blog post or blog posts with some helpful information. The idea of a SIG journey being sort of presented as educational information for people out there trying to figure out what it is that we do here and how to get involved, but really kind of lay that information out in a very helpful way that hasn't been done before, but as a blog post, which kind of dovetails with our marketing efforts and our DevRel planning.
Yeah, same here. Agreed. Let us know how we can dovetail our efforts, and absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, and I don't see Sal on the call, so that's so God, I wish Sal was here so Sal could dive in a little bit more about what her thoughts are regarding that. And when I tell you, and look, when we get into this next part's going to be extremely man, it's the impact of this next part is going to be huge. So I think all the stuff that we're talking about here, I love it, because I mean, when I tell you guys this next thing, man, it's going to be it's going to all make sense. But I'll tell you what, the work, the amount of work involved is going to be crazy as well. So there that goes. But going into the next open item then, outreach to organizations on the spreadsheet. Let's talk about what that looks like. And then I think this is going to be a longer conversation too. That spreadsheet is so dynamic. Let's talk about what that looks like. I'll hand that to Nicole, since Nicole is the author of this great work.
Oh, I do have a mini update. So I know I had told you all I was trying to recruit 2 people to come on, and told them that they would have to update some lines. They have agreed. One, I am pretty sure he will start attending regularly at the next meeting. He actually works at NIST. And he did, he actually brought up something, but I think we can bring it up at the next meeting. An organization that would like to work with us they want to bring people to their conference. And they wanted to know, since there's a DEI committee at OpenSSF, how can they leverage that to make sure they are including DEI students when they sponsor trips for people to go to the conference. And I thought that was pretty good. Their conference isn't until I think the end of the year. But I think that's something somewhat still kind of related to the list, and that's setting up outreach. But yeah, I have one coming on. I have given him 12 organizations to fill in on the sheet. I want to make sure we try and get that sheet at least filled up with what we know by July, so we have a more complete list to really start working off of. And the second person, I think they will be able to start attending meetings in July. So that's my little mini.
So a thought that I had, you know, with respect to that, right? We have a lot of people that we're pulling in from other organizations that could also be doing a little bit of outreach too, right? And I guess the way I'll preface this is, you know, I just got elected to the board of directors of Oasis Open, and one of the platforms I ran on was DE&I, advancing DE&I in Oasis Open as well, and then of course partnering with other organizations. Of course, I mentioned the work we do here in the OpenSSF, but in that same vein, you know, the outreach not just to the organizations on the spreadsheet, but outreach to other nonprofits that can outreach to organizations on the spreadsheets. So I guess I want us to start thinking about that kind of stuff too, right? How do we partner and you know, lessen the load, while at the same time lessen the load while increasing the potential to bring people in, regardless of which nonprofit organization they choose to join, but that we reach out and we grab them anyway and bring them in, and they could decide, you know, at least they're in the game, right? Getting them in the game. What are some of our thoughts around that?
So to be clear, you're talking about like other organizations, not necessarily the ones, but they could also help us kind of flesh out the spreadsheet with their contacts. Is that what you're
right? I mean, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Like, I don't know how, I don't know what I don't know, right? So until we have our first meetings and until I see what kind of influence I can actually have, I'm thinking about taking a chunk of that spreadsheet and say, hey, let's reach out to these organizations and talk to some of these folks and see if we can bring them in. And then at the same time, the whole platform I ran on was partnership across different nonprofits, across different organizations. So who says that who we bring in can't participate everywhere, right? Who says that? Who says they can't have a toe in every pond? I don't know. I mean, it might be aspirational at best. I might be overreaching, but my thought process is, why not? You know?
So, just want to make sure I'm recapping. So with the spreadsheet, you're looking at this as kind of our first outreach would be kind of putting the spreadsheet out there for other organizations to vet and contribute to it.
Well, that, and I mean, this is an and. I think we reach out to organizations on the spreadsheet, period. But we also reach out to other organizations we can partner with towards, you know, continuing to contribute to the spreadsheet, filling it in, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I think there's an and portion to that. I like I said, I mean, I'm putting these thoughts together in real time. So however it looks, I'm saying maybe organizations might say, well, do we need to pay to play? And a lot of these organizations, you have to pay to play. And they say, well, no, you don't need to pay to play. You could just play. You don't need to pay, right? And you know, you have that kind of thought process too. And then it says, well, I'm already, you know, bogged down with, and of course, I'm not just thinking about students or I'm thinking about, you know, people in the profession already that might be mentoring students, that whole thing, right? So I mean, my thought process is expand beyond just this subcommittee. My thought process is expanding beyond that right now. So I'm thinking about everyone under the umbrella. What does outreach actually look like on a larger scale?
Okay, I think that's kind of two different things, which I still think are applicable. But as far as for the spreadsheet, like I think we can go off into a couple of different ways. Like to me, I actually think this is a good project if we've got the initial information for Since I know Yesenia's not here, but she's trying to she's getting a college program set up with Alpha and Omega, that they kind of develop a web crawler and kind of an open website where that information can be. So now anyone who is looking for DEI organizations that are in cybersecurity can go to this site and see it. And it will also encourage some of these organizations to self-register itself, because someone constantly updating, like, we have to eventually kind of move from that area, because we would need some type of dedicated resource to do it versus getting it set up and having it being self-updating, right? Because right now, the best place where I've seen where they somewhat do a collection of organizations that focus in cyber is on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn, they somewhat group them and not all the groups are put together, right? Because that's part of this problem. We're trying to figure out who are the DEI cyber focused organizations, and it's pretty much you have to keep digging and looking at different places to find out, right? And then I think that's being an open source group, I think that looks good for us to kind of get that started. Like, all this information is here because this is technically kind of an open source project, right? You don't really want one group owning it. We know some of them are kind of partially owned by other organizations, right? So it keeps it up there and out there. And I think it's a good way to introduce this group. And with OpenSSF, some of the projects that OpenSSF is trying to do out to the community. And then once we have that, then we can focus on your second point of bringing out on how would we just do outreach in general. That's just my thought.
Okay. No, I mean, those are good points, and you're right. These are roughly two different things. Man, I wish. Yeah, they are two different things, and I guess they're two different things for a reason. Okay. Well, I think start with square one then. What would be square one then? What would be the first? Because there are two different things, and I think you mentioned somebody else coming in, they're taking a piece and filling in the sheet. So from your point of view, Nicole, what do you think is step one? And then give us like step 1 through 3 or 4. I mean, I don't want to go beyond that. I mean, okay, I guess if we busted out the roadmap, shrug, right? Things change along the way. But man, what's step 1, 2, 3, and 4?
To me, I think step 1 is at least trying to make sure we have that sheet with probably at least 50 organizations, and that's kind of like at a good cutoff level where we've gotten a good representation of the different groups that's on there, to kind of go and share it. And then, we kind of keep updating. We can have it updating and then just issue out an update, I don't know, once a month, every 2 weeks as we're getting stuff up there. Then I think once we have it where we feel like we have a good number of organizations represented, that's where I think we would start to try and do some of the reach out. And I think some of that, we would just need a good summary sheet, like, hey, the purpose is, and I can work on to get something started and drop it in Slack that says, hey, we are trying to make sure that we have a good listing of all the DEI organizations that are in cyber, right? So we kind of have a general kind of maybe half a page just explaining what it is, because we already have a key explaining what goes in information on the sheet. And then another one kind of just doing general reach out. And, we can have it up there in our Git, or have it placed on the LinkedIn page and stuff like that, and start putting it out there and specifically sending stuff out to some organizations to check their information, or potentially recommend someone else who they know that's out there that should be on the sheet, right? Because we have two parts. We have organizations that are solely set up to focus on a DEI group. Then we have bigger known tech organizations that might have a strong DEI that's still trying to serve out to the community. So that way we're kind of doing, to me, the vetting process at the same time. Then we kind of look to how the automation would go and having that up, and kind of then work to see what resources are available to move it from, you know, our initial setup with the spreadsheet with information to being kind of self-automated, and at least being some type of bridge part amongst everybody, right?
Okay. So step one, I mean, I agree, right? Let's get a good strong list, and then we move off to outreach after that. But what I'd like to do though is make sure that we have a time. We don't take so much time trying to get to, we don't take so much time trying to get to 50 that we're now not taking enough time for the outreach portion. So how long do you think it'll take for us to get to that point where we have a full enough list where we can begin to outreach?
I'm thinking sometime probably by early July. Like I said, I got 2 other people enlisted to help, and I got another one who I know who's going to come in. So if we all, I think it's at, I think I have it at like maybe 25 now. I think maybe I got 70 organizations on the list. Mm-hmm. So I give them, give everybody like a week or so.
Okay.
I'd rather plan worst case scenario for middle of July, and then maybe hope we kind of have it wrapped up by end of June, right?
Well, July is perfect, right? So the middle of July is perfect, right? You get by the holiday, you have a week after that to get your senses back after the break, right? And then we can start, or we can all jump in and start doing some of that outreach and everything like that. And by that time, we should be cooking with gas with a couple of other things. I'm game. Can we say something like I don't know? I don't have a calendar in front of me, but whatever Monday that is right smack in the middle of July. Can we give that as a day where we could begin to outreach? And I'm saying that like, if regardless of where we're at on the sheet, can we say middle of July? Boom. Let's have at it.
Yeah, I think we can probably say that. And I was just kind of counting the dates till our next meeting. So 3 meetings from now will be around the middle of July. So we can target like 3 meetings from now to kind of start discussing the next steps.
Okay.
And the one thing I like that Nicole mentioned is that I think I heard 2 aspects. One where there's like a kind of like a push aspect where the organizations or whoever's coming in and they know what they're supposed to do to enter the information into the spreadsheet. And there might be some way where we could have like a automated way with, say, web crawlers, and if people put like the right metadata, whatever it is, I don't know how that would look like, we could automatically pull the right information. I think that would be really good. That way we don't have to actually kind of like tags in the website or something that can let us know what types of organizations they are, as an example.
I mean, that's why I said I think part of it might be good, because when I talked to Yesenia about some of the stuff she's trying to do for Alpha Omega, she's kind of looking at kind of as one aspect, certain kind of like senior level projects. And I actually think that might be kind of getting there, right? So to put something like that in, or even have one half looking at how do we make sure it's secure and somebody else just doesn't come in and just try and taint the information, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's goodness in it that this is actually probably kind of a good little open source project for someone to work on, right? And that's why I kind of think a little bit we could kind of work on kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? Because if we have a good number of organizations and we have something where people can sign up, that can buy us some time while we're working on the long-term automated solution, right? And give people some time and some real data insights and things to play with to get it up and going.
Yeah.
Agreed. And what I mean, what are the, so in
Jay, did you drop off?
Okay, yeah,
coming
I
up
couldn't
with,
hear me there.
especially, oh, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm thinking, like, you know, when it comes to like a lot of the stuff that we're working on and a lot of the information that we're producing as a result of it, I think a landing page for a lot of this stuff would be beneficial. And it would also speak volumes with a lot of the organizations that we're going to be asking to partner with us, and a lot of the organizations that we're going to outreach for DE&I and OpenSSF or whatever. That might be something that, you know, something that we need to think about. And I would say in the short term, especially if we're eyeing the middle of January, I mean, eyeing the middle of July to begin constructing how we're going to outreach. That might be something that we want to think about, how we're, you know, what our presence is going to be like, rather than us just talking about it. Is there a place they can go and read about it, or get or you know, do their own research about what we're doing, how we're doing it, who we're talking to, and why? You know, what are our thoughts around that?
That's a good one. Even if we had like some information, including if you did any videos, whether it was at the town hall or the open source summit, those types of things would be useful. I like it.
Well, we have this blog.
The blog.
I would love to see somebody from each SIG, Sal's SIG journey, you know, idea. It would be great if each month, for example, for the rest of the year, we have a plan to highlight a specific working group. If we could get somebody to write these journey posts, an educational post about how to get involved with any given group, that would help us out. It would get the word out here. We're all working on the same thing, really. We're trying to build awareness and increase participation and all of that. And if we could find, you know, if we could source that content, there's an easy, you know, place to put those. So the question is just finding somebody to write them. But a real, you know, very detailed, like, you know, take a very specific persona. Here is the person you're looking for, you know, to participate, and very, very clearly outline the process of getting involved instead of, you know, extolling the virtues of the group and all of the great work that it's doing, but really lay it out, like how, if you're interested, here, let's handhold you through the process very explicitly. I think that there's a lot of value in that.
Okay. Trying to figure out what the best way to go about beginning something like that. I mean, you know, just thinking about what we do have going on, I don't want to take away from it, but then again, adding to might create a situation where we have too much going on at the same time. Anyone have any suggestions on how we can, unless we have somebody extremely talented at, you know, the creative side of things and putting some thoughts like that together? I
always found that it was easy to do these types of things if it was just like, if it started like just with an interview, a certain number of questions, it's easy to turn those into a blog post and having somebody start from scratch.
Yeah, I agree. I like that approach too. Yeah, that actually is a good idea. If we could come up with a document with just some core questions that we think a newcomer who's interested in contributing or participating would have. and just answer them and have a very structured approach to that. Let me give that some thought.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's put I guess let's put some time on the calendar for that then. Maybe another maybe a quick meeting, just to, I don't know, people who want to put some thoughts to paper, who want to get together and have that kind of powwow to get those kind of questions ironed out. I mean, I would say that you could probably do them in a silo and then or do them and then send them out, and then everyone can have an opinion on it. But well, let me ask that: would that be something that somebody puts a document together, sends it out, everybody puts their 2 cents on it, or would you rather do it in a way where it's a working session to put some of those questions on paper in a group format?
I'm happy to do either. I mean, again, these are problems we're trying to solve over in the marketing committee, and these are problems, you know, that we're trying to solve, trying to come up with a DevRel strategy. So I'm happy to put time into it, you know, in real time or asynchronously, whatever works. And whoever else is interested in solving these problems, I would love to talk to them too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm willing to help.
I need to join the Slack channel. That's my next action item. Find the Slack channel for this group.
Are you not on the Slack channel for the group? Hold on a second.
I am not.
Okay.
I think I found it though, and I'm about to join it.
I was gonna say, let's change that.
There we go. At least I hope this is the right Slack channel.
We don't see you yet. I'll tell you what, I can add you.
That would be great. Thank you.
There you go. Boom. Oh, you're already in the channel. Yeah, you're already in the channel.
Then I chose, well then. I wasn't sure it was the right one, but it looks like it is.
Oh, while we're talking about marketing, I know, I think there's the next DEI office hours is June 15th? June 13th? I don't know.
What was that?
June 15th. The next DEI office hours is June 15th. I think probably wanted to give people a heads up. And then another thing that we wanted to do different this time is to also get some marketing out there so we can get some people joining.
Okay. Okay, and looking at the looking at our I just walked in the house, so now I gotta break out the Google Doc again. Ew. Okay. Is any so I will be able to attend the next office hours. I'll be there for the next office hours, and I know that sometimes these things spring up at the most inopportune times. Is anyone else able to join the office hours, or and I don't mind sitting in there there again.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, because I mean I'll be, I have nothing going on during that time. I will say, as I said in the best practice, I say in this one, You know, if you got students, you got somebody who wants to come out new to the game, you got people who are changing careers, by all means, have them join the office hours. Very, very fruitful discussions happening. There's some amazing questions that get asked. You know, we can help a few people out.
Is there anything we need to do to kind of help spread the word from the OpenSSF, from the marketing folks? I know it's on the calendar.
The thing about so what separates this from, I guess, a lot of other things is what we may want to do in the way of marketing. This is a very unique opportunity for a lot of individuals to not just, I mean, from a DEI perspective, of course, but also just from what does a career, what does a cyber career actually look like, and what does it not look like, and how, you know, that chasm is deep and wide. So what does that act? You know, there are a lot of questions that people have that they may not necessarily believe is a valid question, but they are very valid questions, because you know. But I think that the outreach could be something like, do you have any thought around how creative do you want to get? Right? I don't know. I don't know the wording to that. I'm not a marketing person. I don't know. Jennifer's on the call. She knows better than I do. I'm not a marketing person. But this is a unique opportunity that I don't think any of us see. But to ask questions, I would say offhanded, it'd be, and Jennifer just asked a question in chat, and I'm answering that. I would say offhanded, you know, when we think about DE&I, I always tell people, I'm not just considering, you know, the you know, people of color as well. I think diversity of thought too. I want those who have one career, who are saying they want to change careers, and they're thinking about development. They're thinking about software. They're thinking about, I don't know, breaking things, and you know, come all with your thoughts, with your ideas, with however crazy that is. And if this is something you think you want to do, but you have this other thing that you're really good at that's just wild, bring that, and let's see if we can draw those connective tissues, if we can build a connective tissue between one and the other. Is this something that you could get into and find a pathway into based on what you're already good at, or what you already thinking about? You know, the individuals that are on this call and in other SIGs and other working groups, the walk of life we come from and how we got here is so different. We have a lot to offer in the way of, hey, it ain't just the ones and zeros. A lot of us don't even know about the ones and zeros. A lot of us just know, you know, hey, this looks cool. That looks even cooler. Well, how do we build that? Build it this way. A lot of us can't bust it down to binary. And binary even means different things to different people, depending upon how you came up in it, right? So there's different thoughts here. I'd say who we're attracting anyone who's halfway thinking about this, but maybe says, oh, I don't know because I don't know how to code. Well, coding is a small part of this. It's a you know, small but important, but it's small. There's other parts of this too. Bring those. So I don't know. I can't give you a specific who we're attracting, but what I can say is, if they're thinking about it, come on in. Let's talk. I know that doesn't help, Jennifer. I know that doesn't help, but I mean that's what the office hours are for, though, right?
It's been my experience that it's easier to attract participants if they have something first to look at, something tangible. Mm-hmm. So we may want to think about accelerating, putting together a blog talking about this working group, this committee, this working group, and then transition in the middle of the blog to talk about the office hours as I talk about the spreadsheet as kind of a thing, project we're working on, and then transition to the office hours as another project, and kind of talk about what it is, what we're trying to do. That way, somebody has something to look at, and then it's much easier to amplify on social and through LinkedIn and everything. It's like, hey, go look at this blog, and FYI, the next meeting is next week. Come join us. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Because the other thing that you could do, even if you don't have something tangible, because the office hours, I think, is literally next week, we can even just talk about either if the videos are available for OpenSSF Day. I don't know if they're not, or that could also be like a tangible.
The panel
thing.
is for sure, and I think the town hall where you two spoke is as well. I have to go back and look at the repo.
Yeah, those are at least some quick tangible things. Might not be and then the blog post we can work on next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then, can I talk about my open?
Yeah.
So I have a colleague at work, my friend, Conference Kate. Her job is to help facilitate Intel's security's presence at conferences and whatnot. So it looks like Conference Kate got elected to help run the call for papers for an upcoming event Intel is holding. And it's a combination of an internal focused and externally focused thing. So she's air quotes harassing me because she knows I talk at a lot of conferences. She's like looking for content. And I thought about this group as one of the first things I suggested, kind of talking about our efforts. And this is potentially an opportunity for us to have a platform to reach a pretty big audience of people, to talk about, this group, kind of our goals and our mission and some tangible things we're doing, and then also maybe recruit some new participants. So I was wondering, I'm glad to do the call for papers, but I don't feel comfortable directly representing the panel. But would we be interested in assembling a panel talking about this committee and our efforts and goals, and then I can help facilitate getting that into the conference potentially. And I believe we could do this virtually, so I don't know that there would be any travel requirements. So what does the group think about that, having that as a platform for us to work on?
I think all platforms are good platforms. I don't see a harm in it at all.
Yeah, I agree. And especially since, is the audience, like you say, it's a combination of internal, external?
Yeah, so it's a lot of Intel security people and developers, and then it's our customers, which is large OEMs, people that own computers, large banks and whatnot, governments. So it's a very, anyone that uses a computer potentially could be looking at this conference.
Okay. I guess it's kind of like a good one, because then it'd be like something similar that can be like redone in other forums, other member groups could also have similar requests, and then we'd have the material ready.
Mm-hmm. And I would suggest we do it as a panel, because as a frequent conference speaker, panels are my favorite, because somebody has to think up like 5 questions, and then people just show up and share their experiences, have 1 or 2 really good stories. But they're fairly low barrier of entry to participate in.
Yeah, I like panels too. You said you can kind of like do the CFP.
Yeah, I can work on getting the CFP put together, the abstract put together. And then I would just need to know who from this group or other people we want to deputize would be interested in talking on the panel. And I think it would be very interesting. Just I would strongly suggest my friend Catherine participates, because we just talked about something about this yesterday in our internal podcasting call.
We did, yes.
To kind of get her perspective on representation, being a lady engineer within open source. And then that can be kind of our toehold into, why is somebody presenting at an Intel conference? And then, having, Christine from F5 and Jay from Microsoft and whomever else we want to try to coax into the panel to kind of share the good works that we're kind of toiling away at here.
Yeah, I'd love to participate. I think it's a great idea. I also really like panels. I've been a moderator, I've been a participant, and it's a more approachable lift for everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, I don't mind participating at all. You know that. I don't mind.
And then maybe we share the story of Nicole's spreadsheet, how this is one of our big projects, kind of assembling all this information. It's its first of its kind thing we've witnessed in the industry, and then talk about the office hours and the opportunity to kind of directly connect with students and newcomers into the craft. I think it's some great things we can share, and hopefully inspire the audience.
Yep.
All right, so I'll get a draft of the abstract put together and kind of circulate it I'll put it in the Slack channel if anyone has any additional feedback, or if we want to have anyone that's interested in participating, we'll get that put into the abstract. So let me know there, and hopefully we'll be in business together in September, sharing the good word.
Sign me up. I think I'm probably, it would be good for me to participate in innovation anyway, for obvious reasons.
Groovy. Well, maybe you could do some podcasts about it.
I know, we could do all kinds of stuff. I love it.
Do you have the?
We should do a podcast about it leading up to the event with all the panelists. Yes, let's do that. Done.
Do you have the dates in September?
September 19th and 20th.
Okay. Cool.
I put a link to the landing page in the chat. I don't know. They don't have the CF. I think the CFP is kind of being internally managed, but I'll be glad to kind of be the spokesperson to get it put in there and get us on the agenda.
Cool. Okay. Well, are there any additional opens Anything anybody else wants to comment on? We got about 7 more minutes left. And then.
Yes. Christine asked me to follow up because we missed kind of the general open call for the White House initiative. But I'm in DC and I know who the contractors are. So apparently they are extending their office hours because they are having some more open call meetings. So if we are still interested, we could still set up a time to do the office hours to provide input into the STEM education policy that's being done by the White House Office of Science and Technology.
That's great.
Which from this group would just be, I think we've got the email, maybe we just need to cut a couple lines out of it, but we would just need, I think probably, I would say at least 3 or 4 people just to be present on the call. And I think we had came up with items before and just talked to those items as a committee of professionals in cybersecurity and how things that we're working on to educate and outreach and include people.
Yeah, I know that one of the action items from the last meeting was we just need to follow up with Sal. She wanted to quickly review the email and provide feedback, and then I guess you could just cut it down to size and then send it off. I'll have you send it off. I think that's where we were. Do you want to kind of like ping
someone with an
Sal?
open
Yeah.
SSF address, right?
Yeah.
But do think since we know they're still taking them, I am waiting for my friend to just let me know when the cutoff date is. It sounded like they're still going to be taking open sessions at least through the summer, but just to help us when we send that email, we would need to put in kind of our availability on kind of we would be interested in. I think that needs to go into the email. So I'm thinking that's something probably we should be able to coordinate through the Slack channel. Yeah. But that I still think we should probably want to get that email out sooner than later, just to make sure we can get in and get included. And then, you know, that's something else we can add to things we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to take the action item to maybe just like sync up and try to get like availability and maybe follow up with Sally synchronously on Slack?
Well, I'll update in Slack when the deadline is that they're trying to close the sessions. And then I think from there, we should be able to try and coordinate times, right? Because we do need that last piece, which I should be able to get in the next day or two. Mm-hmm. I unofficially did it because I had a friend who worked over there. You'd be like, what's going on with this? Is this still open? I saw y'all have more listening sessions. They were like, yeah, it's open. Send you an email.
All right. Well, I'm about to go into what I like to refer to as a 3-meeting hell. I believe Krob is in a couple of these meetings as well. If he chooses to do it, if he chooses to do it like this, I don't know if Krob is going to be about this life, but I guess I got to be about this life. So there that goes.
Welcome to the club, brother.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else, I'm about to get my get my phone, 2 laptops, and a dream working, and we'll convene in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you all. Good call.
Thank you all very much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.